after the civil rights movement of the 60s with the Voting Rights Act of 1965 and the Public Accommodations Bill of 66 through 68. You were just 10 years old when Martin Luther King Jr. Was assassinated.
Mhm.
And you've seen through your formative years to the present what the changes in the law have represented in terms of opportunity for African Americans. It does not mean that you're unqualified. In fact, you've had to be superior as a journalist just to be perceived as equal. How difficult will that be for this generation in this environment?
Well, I think one of the things you have to consider is that many of this generation of journalists, they did not grow up in that era. They are so far removed from the civil rights movement, and I clamored to be able to cover some of the key people who fashioned my life for me. I mean, Thurgood Marshall and Andrew Young and Maynard Jackson, as I mentioned, and quite often people like Andrew Young will pull me aside and say, remember now, you're here because of this. You're here because of these people, because they paved the way for you. And I was actually honored and privileged to have someone tell me that. And I never forgot, as I said, who I am and whose I am. I'm still Ernest the Sybil Carter's little black boy. I used to play out in the streets in a little cloud of dust. And they would always make sure that I kept everything in perspective. And as I mentioned earlier, a lot of young journalists today are following some of the path of people who in social media who basically put themselves above the actual information and the content that's out there. And for the public, I think it becomes even more challenging for them to discern who to trust and who to believe in. And yes, I mean, it's still very difficult, no matter what your race is, particularly if you're a person of color, to be able to survive in this industry. I mean, the industry is a microcosm of the rest of America. You have racism in broadcast industries. Just talk to any journalist who has worked at a network, who has worked in a local TV station, who's gone to a little small town where they got their very first job, where they couldn't find a place to get a haircut, a place where they could not find community unless they went to the black church. And you can see and hear from them the stories and the difficulties they had just performing their jobs. But somehow we managed to continue to do that. And I think it's something that will continue for a long time to come, as long as there are people like you and like me and like other people who are reminding them of where they came from and how they got to where they are.
You know, Vic, I want to unpack that conversation that you had with Andrew Young, who reminded you in that moment that you are where you are because we are where we were. And the choices that we made, meaning Andrew Young and Ralph Abernathy and Martin Luther King Jr. and James Bevel. And when I think about the luminaries, Rosa Parks and Fannie Lou Hamer in that particular period, and by no means is that list exhaustive, you have a reflection that is directly tied to Andy Young, who reminded you that you have a sense of purpose in a particular context. And no matter how qualified you were, Peabody Award winning journalist at age 33, a dozen Grammy nominations, that notwithstanding, you are where you were because we are who we were to make it possible for you to achieve who you become. This generation just does not, Vic, have that reflection. And without that reflection from them, I don't sense the same pushback that they should against the challenges that confront them.
Well, one of the things that I think that influenced me most was I remember my first month or two in Atlanta, Georgia. I was 24 years old. I was the youngest person on television in Atlanta at the time.
Mm.
Uh, 10th market in the United States. I was very, very fortunate to be there. But I went to an event and was seated at the table with Andy Young. First time I ever really spent any time or got to really meet him. And he took me by the hand. Once dinner was being served, he took me by the hand and walked me around the room and introduced me to a number of people who were movers and shakers in the city of Atlanta. And he said, "This is Vic Carter. It's my fraternity brother. And he nurtured me. And sometimes we don't have that happening now. We don't have people reaching back and helping folks. He understood what I was going through and what I would go through. And I tell you, there is Mal Good, who was the first African American network news correspondent. Had a chance of interviewing and spending some time with him. And one of the things he told me, he says, always remember that no matter who you are, no matter where you go, people are going to like you and people are not going to like you. But you have to maintain a very steady life. And he said, not everybody's going to be your friend. Even some people who look like you are not always going to be your friend. And so I think that the difference is that we have sort of lost our way in terms of trying to nurture journalists who are out there now, and calling them under the carpet and say, hey, wait, hold on, you're going the wrong direction. You know, it does happen to some extent, but I don't think it's happening enough.
I think one of the obvious challenges is the reflection, for example, that young Jewish children experience on Saturdays when they go to Hebrew school. Mm-hmm. Is there's this constant recantation, if you will, of their history, what their people have been through, from the Exodus story to the Shoah, which is the Holocaust experience. And in a real sense, if something happens, and I say this with profound respect and admiration for the Jewish community, what happens to one Jewish person anywhere in the world is felt by all Jewish people all over the world, in no small measure because the reflection upon their history is a shared reflection, and the insults and the challenges themselves are a shared challenge, and the pain is felt and equally distributed amongst all of their people. It has always been my hope, and I know we'll discuss this when we come forward, because I do want you to share with our listeners the story of how Martin Luther King Jr.'s statue in Washington, D.C. came to existence and the role that you played in that. I mention that because it is part of the story of who we are as a people, and it marks a period in our existence during this Black History Month that matters to our struggle. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Our very special guest is Vic Carter, Peabody Award-winning journalist and one of the great truth tellers of our time.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. 2 small planes collided midair in Marana, Arizona today, leaving 2 people dead. 2 others survived. The FAA and National Transportation Safety Board are investigating the crash. Rapper Jay-Z is fighting back after a dismissed rape lawsuit blaming attorney Tony Buzbee for, quote, career-ending, end quote, claims. He says the case cost him $20 million and was timed to disrupt his daughter, Blue Ivy's Mufasa premiere. Jocelyn Wilson's funeral is set for tomorrow after her body was found in a Georgia lake on February 9th. The HBCU Spelman College professor and her fiancé, Gary Jones, went missing during a boat trip, and search crews are still looking for Jones. His belongings have been recovered from the lake. Hip-hop executive Irv Gotti is being laid to rest today in Queens, New York. The Murder Inc. founder, known for working with Ja Rule, Ashanti, and DMX, passed away at 54 after a long illness. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Is this the takeover? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers are facing the prospect of not having LeBron for tonight's home game against Charlotte. Soreness in LeBron's left foot and ankle forced the Lakers to list him as questionable for the team's first game in the second half of the season. The soreness led LeBron to sit out Sunday's NBA All-Star game in San Francisco. The Lakers play at Portland Thursday night. It's unlikely the 40-year-old LeBron will play in back-to-back games. The Lakers are at Denver on Saturday. A positive sign for the Lakers tonight is the increase in minutes for Luka Doncic. Doncic averaged 23.5 minutes in his his first 2 games with the Lakers. Now that Doncic has recovered from a strained calf muscle, Lakers coach J.J. Redick said the minutes restriction on Doncic will be lifted. Look for Doncic to handle the ball a whole lot more if LeBron does not play. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Whoa, whoa.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
I have a dream today.
From the inventors who transformed our world to the activists who changed our nation, their stories shaped America. This February, KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates Black History Month with powerful conversations, untold stories, and voices that need to be heard. Join us all month long for special programming that honors the past while inspiring our future. Black History Month on KBLA Talk 1580. Our history, our voices, our time.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number and put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Life blooms in beautiful ways. The Afia Center invites you to celebrate At the End with Red Gala, honoring the strength and resilience of Black women living with HIV. Join us for an evening of empowerment as we launch the Barbara Cambridge Scholarship and kick off Herstory Month with our theme, Life in Full Bloom. Your support helps create vital HIV programming and builds a future where every voice is heard and every story matters. The End with Red Gala, because every flower deserves to bloom. To learn more and to donate, visit theafiacenter.org.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. My very special guest is award-winning journalist Vic Carter, who after 46 years in journalism and a 29-year run as the lead anchor for CBS WJZ TV in Baltimore, Maryland, he is now retired and moving on to bigger and better things. Vic, against the backdrop of our history. Wow, that's a wonderful picture of Vic presenting me with an award. at a speaking engagement that I did for him in Baltimore. I love that. In order for my listeners to see this picture, you're going to have to download this app, and you're going to have to share this with others because it's a visual. And I can't quite explain just how exciting the moment was to be interviewed by Vic. Vic, when I think about our history as a people from 1619 to the present, so much of what we've journeyed through from slavery, the pre-construction of the United States, the entire construction period, the writing of the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution of the United States, the Bill of Rights, adding one free and one slave state to the Union, the process by which 13 states ultimately left the Union, and then first Reconstruction, Jim Crow, second Reconstruction, which you lived in and for nearly 5 decades reported in. Some of the things that are going to be left include stone. They include the permanent monuments that we have built for future generations to reflect upon the magnificence of that story. Share with our listeners the role that you played in ensuring that Martin Luther King Jr.'s memorial, the site would be selected, and the magnitude of his life would be recorded properly as your frat brother.
Well, one of the great honors that I had was, and it has to be the biggest honor of my life in terms of things that I've done publicly, to be a part of the building of the memorial to Dr. King. I think the first thing I had to do is pay homage to 5 gentlemen who sat around a kitchen table in Washington, D.C. one afternoon and said, hey, let's do something to honor the life of Dr. King. And these 5 gentlemen, all members of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, proceeded to look into ways of being able to honor him. And the original idea was to build some type of statue or a marker on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial where Dr. King delivered the I Have a Dream speech. And then as time went on, that process and that entire project was made a national program for Alpha Phi Alpha. And I was called in to assist with that development. And we realized that we could do bigger, we could do better. And so we took what would have been like a $100,000 idea and turned it into a $120 million finished product on the tidal basin of of Washington, D.C. And there we have a 4-acre site, and we were able to erect a memorial to Dr. King that is unlike anything America has ever seen. In fact, that entire process, going from idea and concept to finished product, happened faster than any memorial in the history of the United States. Not to mention the fact that this memorial is located right in between the Lincoln Memorial on one side and the Jefferson Memorial on another, in a straight line. And if any of you know anything about the layout of Washington, D.C., everything is laid out on straight lines and axes. And we were fortunate enough to secure that location. It wasn't easy. It took the work and the help of so many different people across the country. It took the help of civil rights icons who were familiar with the life and the story of Dr. King. It took the help of the King family, who I worked very closely with throughout the entire process. And then, of course, it took members on Capitol Hill. Because once you pass the requirement for the United States Congress to get the legislation approved to be able to build a memorial, then you had to go through the National Park Service, the Capital Area Planning Commission. There were so many different committees that we had to work with. And through it all, we functioned as a cohesive unit. There was one message that went out every single day, and anytime there was some type of public event talking about the memorial. And I was honored to be able to write a lot of that. I wrote all the speeches for Coretta Scott King. I worked directly with Tommy Hilfiger, one of our first major contributors, General Motors, the CEO of General Motors, and a number of different entities. And it was such a wonderful experience to see all these different people coming from various backgrounds, architecture and art and politics and civil rights, to build this memorial. And now this 4-acre site, it stands out when you go there, and it's all inspiring to me just to go there. And I like to go there sometimes and just listen to what people say. hear them reading the quotes that are on the wall there, to have them little kids look up to the statue of Dr. King. And were not for the desires of so many different people from so many different walks of life, that would never have come to fruition.
Vic, there's a little bit of backstory that you skipped over, and that's the story where during the site selection process, you organized a group of ministers to pick a site, start praying over it, dedicated even before it had been determined, so that others who were competing for possibly using the location for something else, the FIA, the brothers from your fraternity, claimed it, the ministers claimed it, they consecrated it, they blessed it, and basically dared anybody else to undo what God had ordained.
Oh, absolutely. Let me tell you something. That we were in a meeting one day, and we had gotten word that there was a group of people wanting to take that site away from us because there was a moratorium on building memorials in that area. And so as a result, I came up with the idea that we should do a dedication of the site. We should claim this, And so we pulled together a program involving a number of different faiths, good old Southern Baptist ministers who know how to pray and spin a yarn. Our former General President Skip Mason was one of those. We had the dean of the chapel at dean of the National Cathedral, Nathan Baxter, was there. We had representatives from the White House. We had representatives from the United States Congress, including the senators who worked very diligently on this entire project, all there. And then we kept it off with a shining group of little young people, Black, Hispanic, Native American, Asian children who sang at that memorial. And we carried it all live on C-SPAN. And then we unveiled this marker that I helped to design that was put into the ground and basically proclaimed, this is the site where Dr. King's image will stand. And then after that was over, I said, let them try to take it away from us now.
That's so fantastic. And I'm so glad you got the opportunity to share that story. I want to, before we go forward to the next break in our final segment, I wanted to share with people that the Lincoln Memorial that we visit in Washington is actually the second Lincoln Memorial. The first Lincoln Memorial is on the other side of the Capitol. The Lincoln Memorial, where Martin Luther King Jr. delivered the I Have a Dream speech, is the second Lincoln Memorial. In fact, Ronald Reagan is the first president of the United States to use that side of the Capitol for his inauguration. We've gotten used to it now. But on the other side of the Capitol is an even more amazing Abraham Lincoln Memorial that I want to share with our visitors when we come forward. Jesse Jackson Jr., you're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, because on that memorial, there is an African slave who was recently freed. And in Richmond, Virginia, he fell on his knees and he looked up to Abraham Lincoln, and an African-American journalist recorded the story. The story was Abraham Lincoln told him to stand, to never kneel before another man again. And that monument and that moment was captured by newly freed slaves who put their pennies together to honor the great emancipator. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. When we come forward, we'll be with the great Vic Carter.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Kadeen and Deval Ellis for P&G Good Every Day.
Babe, guess what? We can save big on all our favorite P&G brands like Tide, Cascade, and Febreze. Plus, support great causes every day.
Wait, hold on. You telling me we can save money and feel good about it? How?
Well, remember how Granny and Big Mama used to save money by cutting those coupons out of Sunday vapors? Now we just go to pggoodeveryday.com, sign up for P&G's free rewards program, and get exclusive coupons.
Okay, so we can get VIP status and save money.
Exactly. We stock up on the P&G products so you, the boys, and I are good every day, just like our folks did for us.
Well, you better go visit pggoodeveryday.com right now, because you got to go buy some detergent and toothpaste and toilet paper.
Me?
Yeah, you. And with all that extra cash, I got to go buy these new sneakers.
It's okay, funny man. You got jokes. Boy, focus on these savings first.
Visit pggoodeveryday.com.
Fatherhood includes being present during pregnancy, delivery, and beyond, supporting your partner and advocating for your baby's health. Black fathers play a key role in reducing maternal and infant health inequalities. Join the free AIM Fatherhood Program and make a difference. Visit blackinfantsandfamilies.org/fatherhood.
Life blooms in beautiful ways. The Afia Center invites you to celebrate At the End with Red Gala, honoring the strength and resilience of Black women living with HIV. Join us for an evening of empowerment as we launch the Barbara Cambridge Scholarship and kick off Herstory Month with our theme, Life in Full Bloom. Your support helps create vital HIV programming and builds a future where every voice is heard and every story matters. The End with Red Gala, because every flower deserves to bloom. To learn more and to donate, visit theafiacenter.org.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply or play stopped, opt out. Individual results may vary. Consult a doctor prior to use.
If you've struggled to lose weight in the past, this important message is for you because you could lose as much as 50 pounds or more with Zelfie. Zelfie makes it easy and affordable to get weight loss treatment 100% online. Zelfie providers can prescribe FDA-approved GLP-1 weight loss medications clinically shown to help people lose weight like Wegovy, Zepbound, and others. Plus, help get the medication covered by insurance so it's as little as $0 a month.
The doctors are super helpful, and the meds have been a game changer. It's the first program I've had success with.
Before Zelfie, I was unable to lose weight, even though I was eating healthy and exercising 6 days a week. Zelfie helped me not only lose weight, but I feel so much better.
Text GOAL to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie and see if weight loss medications like Wegovy or Zepbound are right for you. Don't wait. Text now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text GOAL to 200-300. That's GOAL to 200-300. GOAL to 200-300.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for Living, Inc. Since 1999, this organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health challenges. Founder Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over 3,000 young lives, providing mentoring, life skills, training, and tools for building self-esteem and confidence. You can make a difference. Visit forgivingforliving.org to donate, volunteer, become a mentor, or find help for a young girl in need. Forgiving for Living, Inc., building brighter futures for young girls. Visit forgivingforliving.org today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
I started vaping my freshman year of high school, mostly because all my friends had vapes. I wanted to fit in with them and look cool and be a part of everything that they were doing. The hardest part about quitting for me was all my friends still hitting their vapes right next to me. It was really frustrating and confusing when I was trying to quit because in my head I knew I didn't want to do it anymore, but for some reason my brain still wanted it.
No quit story is the same. For free support, text Kick Nicotine to 66819 today.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., and welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. In this final segment, our very special guest has been multi-Emmy nominated award-winning journalist at age 23. He was awarded a Peabody Award, one of the highest awards in the profession of journalism. Vic is now a successful entrepreneur, owning several businesses, including BLK Men Coffee, New Legacy Beverage Company, Lee Com Media. Vic, tell us what you are doing now and how you manage this phase of your life.
Well, thank you so much, Jesse, again, for having me on. It's such a great honor to be with you today. You know what? When I years ago, and one of the experiences that grew out of working on the MLK Memorial was another mentor by the name of Dr. John H. Carter, who told me that, there's so much more to you, and there's so much more that you can do. And quite honestly, I got a little concerned because I had no idea which direction the media companies were going to be going in the future. And so I decided to capitalize upon natural talents I thought I had. And I started a company called Lecon Media. And from that, I wrote books. Dr. Ozell Sutton's book was the first one that I wrote. He true was an unsung hero of the civil rights movement. He was there on the upper level of the Lorraine Motel when Dr. King was assassinated. I wrote his life story, and I continued to write for a number of people, writing of books. I've written 3 books. I have contributed to probably about 10 or 15 other books. I own a little publishing division that help push those books out there for people, publishing their manuscripts. And then later on, I developed another company called SciComm, which is we are working with creating science communicators. During the COVID era, I'm sitting at home watching all of these different scientists on television. I didn't see very many who look like us. And so I wanted to be able to facilitate opportunities for those scientists who are doing incredible things to get them public exposure, not just for what they were doing, but for their ability to influence so many younger people and encourage them to pursue careers in STEM-related careers and fields. And so I work with a number of people, including a couple of people from NASA. Just got back from California working with an astrophysicist at UCLA. We have him on a show with Dan Aykroyd. It's coming out pretty soon. And then I partnered with a gentleman out of Atlanta, Georgia, Mr. Darren Cook, who created Black Men Coffee, BLKMEN Coffee. And we just recently launched our teas. Shameless plug here. We chose to create products that will reflect individuals. This one is a tea called 44, named for former president. We have one called Kamala. We have one called Rosa Peach for Rosa Parks. And then there's one that I love a great deal called Julia, which is named for my grandmother. And so from our website, you'll see that there are a number of different products on that website.
Vic, give us that website, give us that address, and give us a phone number where we can reach out and get some of these teas and coffees.
Yeah, the coffees and teas are found at blackmencoffee.com, BLKMEN coffee.com. And one of the great things about our coffee is that once you place your order, then we roast your beans to your specifications. We grind them to your specifications, and we ship it directly to your home. And you look at the other major coffee companies and see how much they are charging for a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. I mean, I was in a major coffee shop recently and went to get a cup of tea, and it was $3 or $4. That's horrendous to me. And the other thing is that we are really trying to uplift a number of people of color as we develop these products. One of my goals is for us to grow our own tea plants. I've searched the world over, and there aren't any Black-owned tea farms that exist out there. And of course, there are a number of requirements for that in terms of environment, drainage, water, altitude, a number of other things. But we're dedicated to finding the best products possible. We're working with a great company right now that's providing these products for us and to our specifications, blending it the way we want them to be blended. And then we have the opportunity to be able to send it directly to your home. And we have some other exciting things that are going to be coming up that I can't talk about just yet, but you're going to hear more about these products.
Give me that email address, that website address one more time.
Website is blackmencoffee.com, BLKMEN coffee.com. Even if you spell it Black Men Coffee, you're going to find it eventually. It'll link you around to our website. And again, we ship it directly to your home, and you can generally have your coffees within 6 or 7 days.
Vic, I often ask in the final 3 or 4 minutes that we have of our program, I ask our guests to share with us what it was that motivated them, what it was that their parents said to them. You're obviously one of the blessed and most successful African Americans to have ever done what you do. Share with us the nature of the perseverance, the struggle, how you overcame, and how you moved forward.
You know what? I think everything that has happened in my life can be traced directly to my roots. You know, I had the type of parents and the type of neighborhood that raised its children. You know, whether it was my parents or the people across the street or down the street, they all knew who you were and they know who your parents were. And they kept us in line and we respected them tremendously. My parents always kept me very humble. I remember sharing my plans with my mother, what I wanted to do. And she said, I told her I wanted to go to television. I want to do this. I want to do that. And my mother said, you know what, baby, you may have to scrub some floors before you get there. And I said, Mom, that may be the case, but I'm going to choose the floors that I scrub if that in fact has to be that way. And then the fact that I had so many people who nurtured me along the way, who saw things in me that I didn't see in myself. You know, I was born and raised in Radford, Virginia, southwestern Virginia. How does a little black boy from Radford, Virginia, go from his humble beginnings to sit at the anchor chair at the top of Television Hill, to visit the White House, to interview 7 presidents of the United States, to travel and cover news on 4 different continents? How does that happen? I felt like I was just a passenger along for the ride. And I tried to be responsible to the product and to the craft and to my upbringing. I continue now to give back. I'm a huge art collector and been able to facilitate 3 different art collections at 3 different locations. Church in Charlotte, North Carolina, First Baptist West, the First Baptist Church in Radford, Virginia, and most recently made a donation of art to St. John Baptist in Columbia, Maryland. And it's not about showing off me and my possessions. It's about inspiring younger people and passing it along and ensuring the next generation has some direction and that they were able to see images that look like them.
I am particularly proud to call you my friend. I'm grateful for the opportunity that you gave me to speak to your fraternal order of brothers for Martin Luther King Jr.'s 96th, I think it was, birthday. What a privilege that was. To see so many doctors and lawyers and professional men and women who had come together to honor our leader, Martin Luther King Jr. I shared with your brothers on that occasion that I came to see the fraternity that had produced one of the greatest leaders in the 20th century and maybe in human history. I was looking for the next generation, and I was particularly proud to see so many young men inspired and motivated by your work and the work of the late Martin Luther King Jr. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Our very special guest has been Vic Carter. Vic, you're welcome back anytime.
Looking forward to it. Thank you so much for having me.
It's an honor. Thank you. When we come forward, we'll be on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.